Ocala.
Plus, of course, a splash of sports as well.
Now, here's your host, Tom.
Good Monday morning. Welcome to Ocala Talks. I'm your host, Tom Schmitz, coming to you from the studios of WOCA Radio, located just off the runway at the Ocala International Airport in the Brick City, beautiful Ocala, Florida. Galen, you know, is on the phone with me as he is every morning, thanks to the good folks at Palm Garden Health and Rehabilitation Center, Penn Flooring, and Just Shipped. And after Thursday and Friday of last week, Galen, a lot of cleanup at your house this weekend?
Wasn't bad at all. Yeah, I mean, it rained most of the weekend anyway, but yeah, it wasn't bad.
Did it rain at your house this weekend?
I don't know if it stopped raining.
We got no rain. We got
like
no
almost,
rain whatsoever Saturday or Sunday, either one.
Yeah, it rained almost all day Saturday. And
Really?
yesterday it rained off and on. Yeah, it's just a really wet day.
You know, and I was at the golf course Saturday, playing in the Ocala Men's Golf Association. And how far would you say the golf course is from your house? 3 miles at the most?
The crow flies? Yeah, as the crow flies, yeah.
3 miles at the most, right?
Yeah.
Not a drop. We were at the golf course till 3 in the afternoon. Not a drop of rain. Not a drop. And here you are at the other. You're just down the bottom of the hill from where we, 20 feet. Nothing. Not a drop at the golf course.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it ever stopped raining. Granted, I was stuck in my bedroom. My wife had me painting the bedroom this weekend.
Oh.
And, that's kind of all I did. Yeah, and painting is terrible. Yeah. And you got after you finish, always do the cost analysis. Like, yeah, it would have probably been cheaper to have somebody else do it.
Yeah, well,
better for my marriage.
There's only one thing worse than painting, in my estimation. Fishing. That's the only thing worse than painting.
Oh, that's not even. I could fish every day of my life.
But I'd rather watch paint dry than fish. I just would.
Oh, no.
But that's just me.
No, I would rather.
That's just me. But painting is right there on the list of, chalk nails on the chalkboard. Painting, they're close. They're close.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. And then my wife did a really good job. So we
but here's
finally
the
have
thing.
a system.
Here's the thing.
She doesn't expect much of me, and that's the system.
Here's the thing. In this day and age, with all the technology you got and all, why are we still having to cut in with a little bitty brush? Why?
Well,
why hasn't there
new.
been something invented that takes care of that?
Well, it's got to be something that actually works.
I know, because the sponge thing that you do,
it doesn't work.
the sponge thing that you're supposed to put up there and glide down the wall, that doesn't work.
I tried 2 different things, and neither one of them worked. So, yeah, I'm on you on that. I mean, as great as we are, we can put a man on the moon. Well, we haven't done that in my lifetime. But in theory, we could. But we can't get a better tool to cut in?
Come on.
Let's do better, people.
That's all I'm saying. The 2 things in life that I don't understand is, in this day and age, why we still have sledgehammers to drive spikes into rocks, and why we can't find a better tool to cut in during painting.
One of those is more important than the other.
The painting.
That's right. That's exactly right.
We got dynamite. We could make a hole in the rock if we had to.
I mean, come on. What are we doing, people? Somebody get on that.
So, but, catastrophic rain Thursday and Friday. With some serious wind damage on Thursday. Friday, it was raining so bad. There is video. Tom James at the CEP took a video of the corner of 10th Street or 200 and Pine. It was a raging river with cars trying to navigate it and floating away.
Yeah.
Cars with no wheels on the ground.
Flood,
cars with no wheels on the ground. My wife's out in her little smart car delivering for her company, Just Shipped. She called me. She goes, I'm going home. I'm getting off the roads, and you need to get home too. I go, honey, calm down. It's just rain. She's like, no, it's not. And I understand in that little smart car and all, it's a little more treacherous than in my Cadillac. But she was visibly shaken because of how bad the water was. Look, they closed 40 again for like an hour and a half. I remember used to, back in the day, they'd close 40 in the rain like that. It'd stay closed for like 2 days. But they had fixed that with the new retention pond medians that they call them medians, but they're really retention ponds that drain in the middle of 40. Plus the way the golf course is now set up and built, it is a natural drain. But 40 was still closed. The golf course's rain gauge on Friday afternoon, it only holds 6 inches. It was full. They don't know how much rain they got. They just know they got 6 inches.
Yeah.
And the pond that is next to number 5, all the rocks were covered. The water was almost on the green on number 5 and had taken over 30 yards of the fairway across the creek on number 4.
Well, at least you got a free drop there.
Well, I'm not it. See, and that was a point of contention for me Saturday morning, okay?
Oh, I knew it was coming back to that. Go ahead.
The free drop that you're speaking of. When the pond is like in the fairway, you know, is it really part of a water hazard, or do you get a free drop out? Do you get a free drop?
It's considered standing water.
Yeah,
you got to look for the stakes.
That's what. Well, you couldn't see any stakes. They were underwater. All the stakes were underwater. That was my thing.
Then you know. Then you know it's standing water.
So
and you get a free drop.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. And then they made this argument about Tom. You hit it in the middle of the pond. I don't know what that. What's the? How?
That's relative.
Well, yeah.
No,
thank you. Where's the differential
relative.
there? Tom, you hit it over by the number 5 green off the 4 fairway into the water. I go,
nope.
Yeah, but you don't know where the pond begins and the land ends.
Right. Show me the stakes.
Show me the stakes.
If there's no stakes, it's standing water.
That was my understanding. Something about Tom. You hit it in the middle of the lake. Schmiddle.
If you're in that conversation and somebody says, "Well, you're misunderstanding the spirit of the little rule," like there is no spirit. It's a black and white. It's a rule. Where are the stakes? Okay, well I can get a free drop.
I can't see stakes. Therefore, this must be standing water. Because if it was a pond, it would be staked off.
All right. Or a red line.
Something.
The rule is very clear.
I thought so.
Very clear.
I thought so.
Can you see where my ball? Was there a marsh light here to show you where my ball landed?
Then
you don't know that.
To make matters even worse, the very next hole, they came up with the same argument. Tom, you hit it in the middle of the pond. I was like, show me the stakes. They were like, you know, the pond is always next to number 5. I go, not today. I don't see any stakes. I thought I had solid legal standing. The tournament director disagreed.
I would have backed you up on that.
The tournament director disagreed.
Come on, man. That's unbelievable. Then the tournament director should have woken up and readdressed the stakes and placed new stakes.
6-foot stakes or something. I mean, you know.
Well, he just failed to do his job.
If I can't see the stakes.
He made you pay for it.
Thank you. If I can't see the stakes, the rule book is clear. Non-staked water is standing water.
I'm not asking for this guy to be fired, but maybe he should resign and pass off his baton for somebody who's willing to put in the
Well, he's been doing it 10 years because nobody else will do it.
Well, that's not the point. And maybe he should find somebody who's willing to get up 15 minutes early to go stake that stuff and drive around in a golf cart.
Yeah, none of us are doing that. He's the only one he's the only one for the job.
No, that may be, you know what, if you said, okay, you can paint or you can go be the tournament director.
I'm tournament director. Tournament director.
Hand me my brush.
But I knew that you would have clarity on that because you know the rules.
Very clear. Actually, it's very, very clear.
No stakes visible, but there's water. That's standing water.
And by the way, that standing water is also applicable even if you're in the rough.
Oh.
You don't have to be in the fairway to have standing water.
No.
You can be in a bunker. You just can't improve your
And because
life.
the bunkers, the washout areas in the water in the bunker, they gave us relief out. They gave us relief out of those. I don't understand how they didn't give us relief from the 2.5 acre pond that wasn't staked. So it's not a pond; it's just standing water.
Yeah, back in the day, the shores used to just get this 6 or 7 inches of water.
Yeah.
Back in the 70s.
And number 9 would flood at the bottom of the hill on number 9.
There were places where you would try to hit it because if you got it,
you knew standing water.
Such a great, you got such an advantage of being able to get a drop And the space was huge. Yeah, it was a thing. My dad would caddy, goes, hit that standing water, son. I'm like, all right, what the heck?
So next OMGA golf tournament, I may need you there as my rules interpreter.
You know what? I can be there via FaceTime. I will not be at the course. I don't play.
Oh, I have an Android phone, so the FaceTime is out.
You can't even video call?
No. You only Android to Android or Apple to Apple, but you can't Android to Apple video call.
Well, then you need to take photos, I guess, and text me.
Yeah. But I knew
say,
you would.
Galen, just say yes. I'll probably just.
I knew
yes.
you would side with me because it's standing water. That was my interpretation.
No. I'm not siding with you. It's siding
with the rules of the USGA and the Royal and Ancient.
Right. The rules are there to help you. Right, Tiger?
They're not there to harm you.
That's correct.
They're put in place for you to give you the advantage, not to give you the disadvantage.
Know the rules.
And
that's all I tell everybody.
And I made the complete. And by the way, none of the people in my group obviously knew the rules because they all told me I was wrong.
Man.
And I know I'm right.
Either you need to get a better foursome, or you need to hand them out a USGA rule book.
That's possible, but both. It's possible that both need to be required. And they said it on both times on the number 4 fairway when I hit it into the pond.
That's not right.
They told me I had to take a drop. It wasn't a free drop. Then I hit it in the water a second time. They said again, I got to take a drop, and it's not a free drop.
And by the way, if you don't drop back far enough, you'll hit that mud and the ball will go like 15.
Oh, yeah. Look, I put in a
so
formal protest.
Drop back. You got to drop back a good, from wherever you see standing water, drop back another 10 feet.
Oh, I put in a formal protest. Here's how rude they were. I give the tournament.
That course had to be playing long.
It was, oh God, it was horrible. I give the tournament committee my formal protest. In the middle of the room, I handed in. I say, "Hey, I'd like a ruling on this later this afternoon after this is done." You know. Oh no, we'll rule on it now. Hey, Schmitz wants a ruling. Here's our ruling, and they ripped up my protest in front of 70 guys.
Disrespect.
I'm about to go join the LIV tour.
Well, I don't blame you.
I'm about to join. They told me that I could join the. I have to pay the Saudis though, but they said I could join. They said I could join.
The perks would be worth it.
We got to take a break. We'll be right back at this timeout on Ocala Talks, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Are you or your loved one being released from a hospital and wondering how you'll manage? Inform your physician that you want to go to Palm Garden of Ocala at 2700 Southwest 34th Street for your rehabilitation. Palm Garden provides pain management, post-discharge follow-up, diabetic care, psychosocial support, and so much more. Plus, they even offer outpatient rehab. This award-winning care facility has a team of licensed professionals dedicated to enhancing your independence. Call 352-854-6262 today.
Are you wasting time boxing up packages and going to the post office or the UPS store? Are you tired of not knowing what you'll pay when you get there? Just Ship offers pickup service and flat rate packaging and postage rates, which takes the guesswork out of shipping while saving you time and money. So quit wasting valuable time and money. Call or text Just Ship at 352-234-3840. That's 352-234-3840. Just Shipped.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
You're getting ready to move and you work hard. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. You need pros. Trained professional moving experts to do the heavy lifting for you. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. They care about your things as much as you do, and they do it fast and right. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. Visit twomeninatruck.com and get moving.
2 Men in a Truck.
Now you've done it. Have you lost your mind? He's back. And you're listening again. A legend in his own mind. Don't believe me? Just ask him. Here's Tom Schmitz live on WOCA. The Source.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks. On a Monday, Galen Enoff from Life South joins us. He does every day, brought to you by the good folks at Penn Flooring. Just shipped at Palm Garden Health and Rehabilitation Center. Galen, we got to change, we were a little lighthearted here, but now we got to change subjects and talk about something a little more serious. Friday, the Supreme Court passed down a ruling that didn't come as a surprise. It had been leaked months before, but they passed down a ruling that basically said Roe versus Wade was not a federal issue. But it shouldn't have never been done because abortion is not a federal issue. It's an issue for each state to individually decide, so that Roe versus Wade was overturned. They didn't have to do that. They could have just ruled on the case in front of them, but they went ahead and overturned Roe versus Wade, said it shouldn't. It was erroneously passed almost 50 years ago. Well, now there are some people in Congress, and whether you believe Roe versus Wade or not, I'm not talking about abortion rights here. What I'm talking about is now there are some in Congress that say that during two confirmation hearings, when asked point blank, two of the justices who are now on the Supreme Court lied in their confirmation hearings about whether they would overturn Roe versus Wade, and people are calling for their impeachment. I don't know. I mean, can you say that what a judge said 2 years ago? I don't know how this goes. I don't know. I'm confused by it all.
Yeah, I don't know, and the truth is the court doesn't have to answer to that. In order to prove impeachment, you have to go a whole lot further than that. It's what they, if you remember, they talked about what is settled law. Well, the Supreme Court, what they did with Roe v. Wade, and the reason why it was such a bad law, is that they created really the lack of a state to pass a law. And that's not within their purview. That's not within their framework. So the Supreme Court, the way it's been used over the years, whether it was gay marriage, right, contraception, there's a long list of Supreme Court rulings that have made law instead of just upholding the Constitution and testing the constitutionality of the law. And you and I are both states guys.
Yes.
Right? And we believe that the state should have the right. And the state should be able to state their own laws. And if you believe in states' rights, this goes back to giving the states the rights to pass their own law. And legally, I mean, the issue is Roe v. Wade is such a hot topic and has been, my entire life.
Yeah.
It now goes back to the states where it was before. And then each state could decide. And then each lawmaker within that state, and then people can vote whether they want abortion in their state or not.
Like in the state of Florida, there are measures put in the books under the Constitutional Amendment in 1980 that restrict, because of privacy issues, how much the state gets to know about abortions. And, because the state can't infringe upon a woman's privacy rights. So that's what they're using to fight the law that goes into effect July 1st of the 15 weeks, after 15 weeks can have an abortion. And my issue here with the states' rights versus the federal rights is abortion's one. I look at that one way, but when Clarence Thomas came out and said contraception and gay marriage could be the next, and think about this: it used to be against the law for contraception. Okay, that should never be against the law in this day and age that we live in because of how unwanted pregnancies and all are, and we can get into that discussion or argument. And I know that an individual state should be able to decide certain laws, all the laws that the Constitution doesn't. But if heterosexual marriage is going to be recognized by every state, then don't you have to have some provision in there that does the same for same-sex marriage? Because, if you're going to recognize one group nationwide as every state accepts it. Like you and I are married. We both got married to people in Florida. But if we moved to Idaho, Idaho would recognize our marriage. There's going to be some states, if gay marriage comes to it, there's going to be some states that recognize gay marriage and other states that say, nope, we don't recognize that. Isn't that, now aren't you being discriminatory there? Isn't the law then discriminatory? Because heterosexual marriage, it recognizes, but gay marriage, not in our state. There are some things.
Well,
it's confusing.
Well, to me, it's very clear. Our government, any government, should have nothing to do with marriage. The word marriage never appears in the Constitution.
Never.
Right? Well, what happened is it became a taxing vehicle. And so that's what occurred. And this whole idea of marriage being under a government was done for several reasons. One, it was racially based because they didn't want people of opposite races intermarrying.
Right.
And they said, okay, we can do this by making them do a blood test.
Right.
Or, any of the other so-called laws that they put into effect. And that's when the government got involved in marriage. The government has nothing to do with marriage. So when George and Martha, granted they were married before the Constitution existed, but if they were to get married in 1777, there would have been no government entity that oversight that. That would have been in front of a church and in front of their God. And if they didn't believe in God, then they would just started living together. And it was a common law.
Yeah, but the problem, the issue...
And the common law became an issue because of property rights.
Right, and that's the issue of same-sex marriage and all, is pensions and property rights and,
All right, but you can now do that. And here...
not if states make it illegal, they won't recognize it.
Well, here's the thing. The pension used that because it was in the state. So the law, the government came involved first, and then everybody else kind of jumped on it.
Right.
You can easily, I can name whoever I want for my work benefit. What I can't change is what the government controls, which is the Social Security,
certainly,
Medicaid, Medicare. That's where it gets the problem because the government put themselves into that. And we could talk about the legality of Social Security, which is another one of those overreaching things that was set by a Supreme Court. And if one other more person tells me that, the Supreme Court is now political, well, then go back and read your history and what FDR did to the Supreme Court.
Yeah. Go back and read a master's thesis by some guy named Tom. I forget who the guy was. Some guy named Tom that wroed his entire
master's. He doesn't know the rules of golf, but he seems to know the Supreme Court.
He wrote his master's thesis on Fred W. Darby Lumber Company versus the U.S., and that was the test case that the Supreme Court ruled unconstitutionally in Mr. Darby's mind, and in a lot of folks' mind, unconstitutionally ruled that minimum wage was the law of the land. And that was done in 1938 during FDR's administration.
Absolutely. And again, we can point to a bunch of those things. But
go look at Plessy versus Ferguson.
What Thomas has always felt, Clarence Thomas has always felt this way. I mean,
always.
From the very beginning. He's a constitutionalist.
Hey, hold on.
In his job, it's in the Constitution or it's not.
We'll be right back after this timeout. More with Galen Uno on WOCA, The Source.
USA Radio News with Lance Pride.
More Supreme Court rulings should come down very soon before the Supreme Court of the United States takes a breather. On their plate, religious liberty. High school football coach Joe Kennedy, who prayed after games in Washington State, was fired for it and got the attention of the justices. The Remain in Mexico immigration policy. Does the EPA have the authority to regulate emissions from power plants? The pill mill. work protection for veterans, the court will decide whether a state has the authority to prosecute non-Indians who commit crimes against Indians on reservations. And finally, the Fair Sentencing Act for career criminals. 5 people were shot and injured early Sunday during an outdoor event in East Texas. Witnesses said one or more trail ride groups started shooting into a crowd. The Unified Elite Riders event is from nearby Marshall, Texas. USA Radio News.
New message.
What up, what up? It's Heather's cousin. You dated her in college, or maybe you were just in the same class. Anyway, I heard you bought a boat, my man. Let's hit the water. Oh, and Heather told me you always liked, snacks and stuff, so I could totally bring some chips.
When you get a boat, you also get new friends. Make sure Progressive's one of them, and get coverage today for as little as $100 a year.
Hey, also, I'm a little short on cash, so can you cover the chips? Thanks. I can see why Heather liked you.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Annual premium for basic liability policy not available in all states.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Howdy folks, RL here from Dairy Queen again to tell you about what's hot and what's not. Dairy Queen has some of the best char-grilled chicken breasts on earth, as well as their chicken breast salad. And the burgers are exceptional, cooked on a real grill for the best flavor and less fat. And for dessert, blizzards are unequaled. Personally, banana split is my all-time favorite. Dairy Queen Silver Springs, where we always treat you like kings and queens.
Good credits, bad credits. It's none of our business because we're not an auto dealer. We're not a bank. We're not your mother. We're OcalaForSale.com. Marion County's marketplace for cars, trucks, and SUVs. We've got thousands of sellers standing by to take your call. No middleman. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to OcalaForSale.com.
Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge. Undercutting, rust-proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
You don't get to be the league's all-time leading rusher without feeling some pain.
Pro football legend Emmitt Smith knows joint pain, and he also knows the old treatments aren't the only treatments. Today, there's a natural alternative to drugs and surgery. It's biologic therapies from QC Kinetics.
I'm talking regenerative solutions that encourage your body to heal and repair itself.
Do you have pain in your hips, knees, shoulder, lower back? Want to get your life back? The local medical professionals at QC Kinetics can help.
Call to learn more about this exciting natural way to deal with chronic joint pain.
Don't put it off. Call QC Kinetics. Restorative, regenerative solutions with no downtime and lasting results.
Don't let your joint pain keep you from doing the things you love. There's a new natural solution that patients are raving about.
QC Kinetics.
Make the call to QC Kinetics. Tell them Emmitt Smith sent you.
Call QC Kinetics. 352-400-4550. That's 352-400-4550. QC Kinetics. 400-4550.
The Ocala Golf Club, one of Ocala's premier golf courses, from its pristine 18-hole course layout to its amazing pro shop. Jason Linhart and the staff at Ocala Golf offer everything that you need for your golf outing. That's the Ocala Golf Club. Experience country club style golf at municipal prices. You won't go wrong with the Ocala Golf Club. Call them for a tee time today, 352-401-6917.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line, a new spoiler, and a new truck.
Yep, we can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too.
Well, as a matter of fact, join me, Matt Gibbs from Sunrise Automotive, every Tuesday at 10 for auto repair with personal care right here on The Source.
Now you've done it. Have you lost your mind? He's back. And you're listening again. A legend in his own mind. Don't believe me? Just ask him. Here's Tom Schmitz live on WOCA. The Source.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks on a Monday. I'm your host, Tom Schmitz, coming to you from the studios of WOCA Radio at the Ocala International Airport in the brick city, beautiful Ocala, Florida, joined by Galen Unal from Life South. He joins us every day thanks to good folks at Penn Flooring, Palm Garden Health and Rehabilitation Center, and Just Shipped. Galen, I'm about to say something that you should go ahead and say. I distance myself from this comment before he says it. Go ahead. Go ahead and say it.
Okay. I distance myself from this comment.
Proof that some women politicians are just as dumb as their male counterparts. One Republican, one Democrat. One happens to be a governor of a state. The other one happens to be the vice president of the United States. Over the weekend, open mouth, insert foot, in my opinion. Kamala Harris on Friday, she tweeted a post on her Twitter account where she's standing in Air Force Two in a private jet watching a big screen TV of protest happening outside the Supreme Court. And she put in her tweet, I know there are women out there who are afraid. To those of you who feel alone and scared, I want you to know the president and I are fighting for you. We're in this fight together. One girl goes, yeah, you want us to know you're watching TV from 36,000 feet above everybody else, watching on a big screen TV in a private plane, and the message is we're in this together? I'm almost positive you guys don't know where the rest of us are at right now. That's from a liberal newspaper opinion writer, Joan McCarter. There were many more just like that. One writer for the New York Times goes, not Vice President Kamala Harris watching the erosion of Roe versus Wade from her plane in the distance. Whoever thought this was a good photo op should be fired immediately. This is literally the embodiment of you're in our thoughts and prayers. So she's catching flack from her own people about her insensitivity and not being in touch with reality. And then you got South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, who is Republican, and she goes, when asked on Face the Nation yesterday, and when I watched this, I paused it and rewound it and watched it 4 times just to make sure that I'd heard what she said. She was asked, but your trigger laws kick into effect that make abortion illegal, but what about in rape and incest? She goes, one tragedy should not be compounded by having another tragedy occur. I'm pretty sure the tragedy of rape and incest is still the same tragedy occurring when you force them to have the baby. Am I wrong there? I mean, both these women seem way out of touch with reality.
Well, I mean, we Kamala Harris, maybe the worst VP ever. And what I mean by that
George M. Dallas was pretty bad. He was Tyler's vice president.
True,
he was pretty bad. He's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's true. But every time Kamala speaks, it's like,
But I mean, she's in her pantsuit with her arms crossed, staring at this big screen TV on a private jet, and tells everybody we're in this fight together. The guy goes, I don't know what fight you're fighting, but anyway, you're not in touch with where we're at in life.
Yeah. I mean, but that's part of what their problem is they really are the embodiment of the ivory tower. They are literally live in this ivory tower, and they're shielded from the masses and what the masses believe, and that's why they're so out of touch. And so when they just start freely talking, they say things, and it's like, no handler can go up and say, that's not what you want to say.
That's not what you wanted to say.
Even though this was a tweet,
right.
Obviously the person who's running that, this is completely out of touch too. It's amazing, isn't it?
It really is.
Absolutely amazing.
I mean, look, I understand where the South Dakota governor's coming from, but because she's like, two wrongs don't make a right. I understand what she's saying, but to come out and say that one tragedy doesn't deserve another tragedy, like that the tragedy, it almost felt like to me she was saying, yeah, well, once the tragedy of the rape is over, that we know you were raped. If you become pregnant, well, that's not a tragedy unless you kill that baby. And I'm thinking, to the rape victim to have to carry to fruition and deliver the baby of the rape that just keeps that tragedy going. And I understand where the governor was going I understand what the governor was saying, but it was not worded properly. It was not worded for me that it showed like she cared.
Sure.
I'm not arguing her
Oh,
point.
no,
Two
it-
wrongs don't make a right. I'm saying she just it was just like Kamala Harris's was delivered terrible. They were both trying to say something they thought was good, but they just open mouth and insert foot.
Yeah, and again, by the way, there is no good answer. First of all,
no.
Abortions for rapes are incredibly rare. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
No, 1.6% is the number that they said this weekend on the news. Incest is more common than rape.
Absolutely, and it is incredibly. I mean, no matter what, that is a terrible situation. So I again, it all, and this is where I've always felt on abortion. Where do you believe that life begins? And you can answer that any way you want.
Conception or viability? Where do you believe it begins?
You could, and then if it's viability, that becomes even a bigger gray area. So it all depends on your belief as to where conception or where life begins. And if life does begin at conception, then therefore it's murder. And that's the question that you have to answer yourself.
Which each individual state will do.
And by the way, there is no evidence that says that the morning after pill is ever going to become illegal.
South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem said that's the first thing she's going to look at is outlawing that pill in her state too.
But she can't because it's a federally recognized drug. It can't be. The Supreme Court would have to come up and it would have to be declassified and turned into a.
Well, they can make it. They can make it illegal. Then it just goes to the courts, and then the court system would put a stay on it, or an injunction until it got all the way to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, and they're not going to touch that. They're not going to touch that because of the doors that it opens. Again, there's still a lot of room there, and again, your bottom line is they both said some really ill-worded things.
Yes.
At the same time.
Yeah, that's both sides of the aisle.
And I also, but there was a lot of that. Whenever you have an event like this happens,
you do.
We can look at it any way you want, but you look at some of the things that were said, and you could say, oh, okay, that's instilling violence. With what Elizabeth Warren said, instilling violence. AOC going over to the crowd in front of the Supreme Court and inciting them even more. So there's a lot of that.
That was what I was going to bring up next is, after 1973, any kind of government scandal is something gate. And now it's even in sports, with Deflategate. Everything's gate after the Watergate issue of 73, right? Well, now everything's going to be an insurrection. Everything. Because I heard this week on the news, AOC incites an insurrection at the Supreme Court. Elizabeth Warren cites insurrection with protesters in Washington. Okay, first off, let's pump the brakes. Read what the word insurrection means. Okay, let's pump the brakes. Did I think AOC overstepped herself when she went and whipped the crowd up? The same way I think Donald Trump whipped the crowd up on January 6th. Do I think she's criminally liable for what happened? No. If somebody then decides to become a criminal, like the people did on January 6th, and the people did in Portland when Black Lives Matter and I never can remember the other group, and I don't know why I can't remember them. The other group, the protest, the skateboarders with their skateboards and everything, when they protested. Did the speakers at their rallies do that, or did they storm the Portland police station and burn it down?
Sure.
Well, they did, of course.
Well, nobody. Nobody really knows what the Antifa people.
Antifa, thank you. Yeah.
Protesting.
Yeah.
I think they were just trying to, break stuff.
Right, but I mean, people say that I heard somebody say this weekend, AOC needs to be put in jail for what she did at the Supreme Court. I go, there's a lot of things I could put her in jail for, but I don't think that's one of them.
Well, and it's like the people who shut down the highway in L.A.
Yeah.
I mean, they should be arrested immediately.
But they weren't. They were allowed just to walk on highways. Shut down 285 in Atlanta. They shut down 285 in Atlanta.
You do, and I was amazed that they were allowed to do that. People stopped, I guess. That was the problem.
Well, if you didn't stop, you would probably be charged with killing them, because the pedestrian always has the right of way.
Not on 285.
No, it is expressly expressly written that pedestrians are not allowed on 285.
No, I mean, that I'm surprised some good old boys didn't say it's target practice time. I don't know.
Believe me,
that wouldn't have happened.
I'm very surprised it didn't happen.
It wouldn't have. It did. By the way, they did. The police did come and break that up fairly quickly. It didn't take very long.
Right, but the 101 and the 101 and the 101 in California, they shut it down.
Oh, they did. They did. And again, but that's also, I'm sure, the governor was okay with that in L.A. or in California. The governor's not going to be all right with that in Atlanta.
No.
But look, I got an election. Stacey Abrams is now pro-police, so we need to get out there in front of this thing.
Well, she had to be pro-police.
Oh, and that talking about one of the, you could talk about people flip-flopping all the time. I mean, that's what politicians do. But Stacey Abrams coming out as pro-police is one of the top 5 of all time.
Yeah.
So.
I just this weekend, I've seen lots of newscasts and everything, but those two women with their insensitive tweet and their, you don't compound one tragedy with another tragedy, like the first tragedy was over or something. No. I'm not taking a side on each one. I'm just saying both of them need better PR people.
Absolutely. Yeah, both were intended to be what they felt was the right thing, and it's not good. Not good.
So, how about this?
And by the way, there and somebody's like, "Oh, we need to vote around." Like, first of all, have you seen her polling numbers in South Dakota? She's the most beloved governor in the country.
She ain't going nowhere.
No, she's not. She's not leaving.
And by the way, Kamala ain't leaving either till at least 2024. So.
Well, you can't vote her out again. But after 2024,
right.
She will never be in politics again. And she's not even going to get one of those news shows.
No.
I don't know what she'll do.
I saw this over the weekend, though. Did you see who's leading in the polls for Congress in the state of Alaska?
Yeah, of course. She's loved there. She's loved there. That's
there and in Russia, which you can see just across from her porch.
But you realize she could. I mean, Sarah Palin could. She became arguably number 2 or 3 best SNL celebrity characters of all time.
Tina Fey. Look, I like Tina Fey better than I like Sarah Palin. Ask Sarah Palin.
Well, I mean, and the fact that she's even running, I just think is remarkable. With everything that she was put through the vice president, and she was a very, very popular governor.
Oh, very popular governor in Alaska.
An incredibly popular governor, and the fact that she's willing to put herself back out into the spotlight as a political candidate is remarkable. I mean, she's made a living off of it. I'm not saying otherwise. But, the first dude...
Her husband made a living. Her kids have made a living off of it.
Yeah. I mean, when she used to call her husband the first dude, that was, really cool at the time. And then SNL got a hold of her and just destroyed her. And she could not recover. She couldn't recover because it was so good. So good.
Yeah.
And that's when Saturday Night Live was funny. They did it, and it was a pretty funny way. What Alec Baldwin did with Trump was mean-spirited. And Tina Fey was never really mean-spirited. She was just trying to find the comedy in it, and I thought she did a tremendous job.
So this is the July 4th weekend coming up. And Congress, in its infinite wisdom, senators actually, Richard Blumenthal and Edward Markey, they've decided now is the time to call the airlines to the carpet for their long delays during holiday weekends, and we need them to come explain to us why this is happening and everything. I mean, I can explain why it's happening. You have a shortage in pilots. You have pilots who have to sleep because the regulations won't allow them to fly 24 hours straight. You have more people. You have more people wanting to fly than ever before, even though fuel prices and airline prices are up because we're just coming out of a pandemic. We want to get our move on. And if you really want to address scheduling and delays, where the hell were you at in the 60s and the 70s? Because Pandora, the only thing left in Pandora's hope chest now is Pandora, I think.
That's not untrue. I hate it. I like the NFL getting called up to Congress. Like, what's the point? What are you trying to accomplish?
Nothing that the American people need accomplished.
No, they don't care. You know what I mean? The American people really don't care what happened at a private company. Well, they are a nonprofit, but you know what I mean with the Redskins. Nobody cares.
No.
Like the Dallas Cowboys. The fans of the Dallas Cowboys don't care.
No, and if they don't care that the Redskins
continue to be bad.
Exactly. If they're not taking any kind of enjoyment over this Redskin scandal, you know, if you don't see Cowboy fans and Eagles fans taking some sort of enjoyment over this, it's a non-starter.
Just move on. Yeah. I'm always fascinated by that. Like the steroid issue. What did you accomplish by having the steroid?
You got Rafael Palmeiro caught in a lie. You caught Rafael Palmeiro in a big lie because he pointed his finger at you.
I guess.
And we found out that Sammy Sosa, after 25 years in America, who speaks really good English, all of a sudden got amnesia and couldn't speak English anymore. No,
and up until then, people were like, "Oh, he's a Hall of Famer." I'm like, "No, he's not. Never been the top 5 player in the game."
When you go look at Sammy, when he was 3-4 years in the league, and then go look at Sammy in 1998, and you don't think he was on some sort of enhancement, that's like saying, "Oh, I don't think BA's small again." Have you seen Barry Bonds?
He looks completely weird.
Right,
he looks very, very weird.
Have you seen? Yeah, he's got that skin disease, that he's losing his pigmentation. Have you seen Barry Bonds lately? Barry Bonds is back to 195, 200 pounds. He's back to the skinny, slim, trim guy that he was when he was the greatest baseball player on the planet before he got jealous of home runs in 1998. That's the one that aggravates me. How the greatest baseball player on the planet, because Ken Griffey Jr. kept getting injured, so it became Barry Bonds, how he, the best player in the game, decided he was so jealous over the home runs that Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire were hitting that he should throw his entire career in the garbage to chase the home run. When, by the way, he was hitting 35, 40 home runs a year anyway.
Did he throw it? No, I don't think he didn't throw his entire career away. I disagree with
No, he threw his Hall of Fame career away.
Barry will be in the Hall of Fame.
I don't know.
He's too great.
I don't know.
He's the greatest baseball player that you and I will ever see.
I do not disagree with that a bit. And, I will not recognize him as the home run king. Henry Aaron is.
Well, you could do that all you want.
With the asterisk. But he is the greatest. He's the greatest athlete that I ever saw play the game of baseball, without a doubt. I mean, I have uncles and all that will tell me he was equal with Mickey I can see him. Willie Mays, that he was equal. He wasn't better than Willie Mays, but I never saw Willie Mays play. So,
well, I can tell you his numbers were better than Willie.
Of course they were.
Defensive stats are no, but offensively, Barry Bonds is the greatest person to ever play the game of baseball.
But he will always be remembered.
And his defense, and he won 4 Gold Gloves.
But he will always be remembered.
Defensively.
He still will always be remembered of not being able to throw Sid Bream out from 200 feet away from home plate, though.
A little further than that. There's a lot more.
It was a terrible throw. It was just. Oh, look, I can hear Skip Carey now. Braves win. Oh, okay, never mind. Sorry. Just having a moment.
Oh, you're still the champion. I mean, you are the champion
reigning
right now,
reigning World Series champions. Hey, by the way, played last night against the reigning World Series champions for 2020. So the two championships, Dodgers, Braves gave it away in extra innings last night after they'd played so well. Just gave it away in extra innings. But that's not what got me over the weekend. What got me sports-wise over the weekend is, it's not just football now. Watch out, the SEC rules in baseball too. They've they've done pretty good in the College World Series in the last decade.
Yes, they have.
The last team in,
the
last team in won the World Series. The last team in the team field of 64 was the Ole Miss Rebels. Was the last team in. What's the chance of that in the 64? That had never happened in basketball. The last team in would never win a national championship in basketball, would they?
No. Well, it depends on how you're defining the last team in.
Well,
are you going all the way back to the regionals?
The NCAA said that when they picked the 64 teams to play in the regionals, the last team they slotted in, the committee, last team they slotted in was the Ole Miss Rebels. They were, if you ranked them 1 through 64, Ole Miss would have been the 64th seed.
Wow. I would have looked at that and said, okay, that's a questionable thing. Yeah, I mean, they were in the SEC. They were barely 500.
Yeah.
So, yeah, pretty remarkable. They just got hot at the right time. They got some great pitching, and they were hitting the ball. I watched zero of that, though. I'll be honest with you. I didn't watch a bit of it.
I watched the 2 championship games.
Because I was painting.
Yeah, that's right. You were painting. Well, I watched that, for the first time in a very long time, I can tell you. I know they played the Travelers Championship. Who won? I didn't watch a minute of golf this weekend. Not a minute.
No idea. No idea.
Yeah, I got no idea. I was watching college baseball, and the Braves Dodgers because that was a fantastic series this weekend. The Braves Dodgers.
You're just bypassing the hottest team in baseball. You're not even mentioning my Red Sox, who won 7 in a row, and are the best team in baseball right now.
I don't know. The Atlanta Braves in the month of June went so far are 20-5 in the month of June.
Look at
and
the Red Sox.
They've made up 11.5 games on the New York Mets in that time.
The coming into June, the Red Sox were in last place.
Yeah, because they're terrible. Because they're not good.
They're now a game away from being in second place behind the Yankees, and they have the best record in baseball in the month of June. So don't ask.
I don't think the Red Sox have a better record than the Braves in the month of June.
They're 42-31 right now. They started the month of June 5 games under 500. I'll take my and I think during that stretch, the Red Sox took 2 of 3 from your Atlanta Braves.
I don't believe that. I really don't like that. We're really not gonna talk about that.
You got Google in front of you, Mr.
I got it right here. I got it right here. They're 19-4 in June. The Braves are 20-5. So the Braves are better.
Oh, so
Braves
actually
are better.
That turns out baseball parlance.
Exactly the same. It's even right. Exactly. Hey, but all I can tell you is I'll let you share it. I'll let you share it.
The Red Sox are now in second place in the
so are the
AL East.
So are the Braves.
And they started the month in dead last in the AL East.
The Braves are in
fourth.
fourth.
And the AL East is the best record in baseball.
It's
the best
the Yankees
division
are terrible.
in baseball.
The Yankees are terrible.
But you have 4 teams that are over 500.
Hey, Galen,
there's not another division in baseball. There's 4 teams over 500.
Where's the Bloodmobile today?
Come at me. Red Sox are the greatest of all time.
Oh dear God! Where's
today,
the Bloodmobile? Oh, and by the way, they only started the Red Sox only started the month of June 2 games under 500, not 6 games or 7 games.
Yeah, that's right. They got a sweep coming in.
So,
all right.
Bloodmobile.
What's the Bloodmobile?
10 seconds.
All flustered. Hey, we're at the Lowe's way out on 200, so come check us out there. But as always, we're right on the boulevard, lifesouth.org. Please give blood.
Galen, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bye, all.
USA Radio News with Lance Pry.
Russia is poised for its first sovereign default in decades, as some bondholders said they had not received overdue interest payments on Monday following a deadline a day earlier. The Kremlin said there are no grounds for Russia to default, but it's unable to send money to bondholders because of sanctions. President Biden in Germany for the G7 summit over the weekend announced that the United States will spend a great deal of money outside of the United States to help other countries. One of the